Good day, Vikings and Adventurers. I wanted to give you guys kind of a final update on our small village here in Aska. So this is what I'd like to call its final form. We've built everything we wanted to build, upgraded what needed to be upgraded, and we've completed the main island. Got all 5 of the bosses down and successfully fought off many invasions. And I just wanted to give you a tour of the village and discuss what I'd do different. Overall, it was very relaxing. Building a smaller village wasn't as stressful trying to keep up with 120 villagers all screaming at you that they don't have clothes or something. Food was extremely easy. That was handled very early and always had an abundance. Actually had to cut back on a lot of our production workers just because the food was spoiling and just going to waste. Ended up building the Smilking parlor and the Cheesemaker just for giggles because there's something to build. Haven't had any issues with the invasions, haven't lost any of our defenders from the invasions because they're all in tier 4 gear with some of them ancient weapons. I just have not got enough of the Draugr bows to make the ancient Draugr bow yet. That's something I could work on if I wish to continue this. Alright, so we'll start back out at the mine where I've started the other tours from. So, having to reset the mine every season, basically whenever it turns over from spring to summer, summer to fall. Just grab a cart full of bombs and come reset the mine for my 2 miners. And then, poor dog. Their dogs are still not working right. I've had very little success keeping dogs alive. They just starve to death, even with my hunters out here killing all the smokers and the meat laying around, and he's actually just steps from the food trough, but just starved to death. There's the food trough right there, and he starved to death within eyesight of the food trough. So disappointing that the dog's still buggy, not working right. Here's our stone Jotun statue. Took forever to get the last 20 iron bars to get this thing built. So we'll go through Main Street again, so everybody's into longhouses at this point. We got some decorating to do, ivy, arches and walls if I wanted to continue with this world. But we've capped ourselves on 48 villagers just to see how far we can get, and yeah, definitely can complete the main island with just 48. Had to build some cottages, extra cottages, to shuffle all of our villagers around when I was demoing their original cottages and building these longhouses. So the tip on these longhouses that I learned is the bigger the better, because there's a diminishing return on the worker count. So once you get above 10, the multiplier doesn't get any lower. So the bigger the longhouse and the more stuff you can cram in there, in the end is better. I'll give you a tour of our largest longhouse here. Just how I set it up with a small table, some partitions in between the beds, 2 fireplaces, just mirrored on this side. And I'll take you through the smaller version. So, same thing. Table, fire storage, 6 beds, partitions. they're happy with this. This one has quite a bit more comfort. I think this is getting the Smilker pin debuff. Yeah, this is one of my only longhouses that gets a Smilker pin debuff. Let's see. Yeah, so this one you've got 61 comfort, and then the largest one you have 30. So if you want the most comfortable villagers, build the small ones. If you just want bang for the buck, build this larger one. I got 6 in the small, 21 in the large. What I would have liked to have done actually was have 2 largest side by side, and then push this archer range towards the wall. And that would have let me clean up this other side a bit more. So let's give you a look at the fishers and farms and all that. So down on the coast, just like before, boat builder, we knocked it back to just 2 fishermen, one on days in one house and one on nights in the other house. Haven't used a boat builder since we built our skippas, and they haven't been deteriorating or taking any damage, so we haven't had to repair those. Cut it back to just the one forester's house. Got one guy in there replanting the birch and the fir. Got one gatherer in the gatherer's house. We got one farmhouse with 4 farmers on 4 fields. And that's been producing in abundance, as you can see from all the vegetables spilling out everywhere and constantly having to pick up the flax off the floor. So we did build the Smilker, or the Smilker pin, just for giggles, like I said, to build the Cheesemaker and see how that changed after the update. Still got our wall of water troughs that are always empty. Water well's barely keeping up, and that's just on 4 plots. So we haven't been able to staff our runestones since the beginning, but I do rotate in a shaman. I've got a level 100 shaman when I'm trying to train up specific archers or barracks workers. We've got guard houses on 3 of the sides with the warning horn. Our shaman living in here in the healing house for now. So this is one of our woodcutters huts. We've got one for the fir and then the other for the hardwood. And since the birch has started maturing over on this side of the village, these guys are doing a better job, but still they're having to run a long way for hardwood if it's not readily available from our forester. Got the upgraded Eye of Odin tier 4 after we killed the stone Jotun. That allows you to summon Vikings a normal way, and then the crystal golems and the mud golems once you kill those island bosses and unlock those. But with this such a small village, I'm not going to even attempt expeditions. You're definitely going to have to bump up to something between 60 and 80 villagers to attempt expeditions. But the goal of this was just to complete all the tasks on the main island, build a small, relaxed village. So I always rotated in between Bloomery, Coalmaker, just depending what I was low on. And that was the thing with the 48 villager cap. I had to rotate people in and out of workshops and bloomeries and coal makers to make what I need to make. But if you bump that number up to 60 or so, you could just set it and forget it and leave the workers in there day and night shifts and not have to worry about it. So this is our arrow maker die crafter. So the arrows are so inefficient to make, I'll assign one guy in my clothing workhouse. That's his only task, is to make 80 bone arrows and keep it stocked. But when I get later in the game, I want to make the die maker, so I'll break him off into his own workhouse, and he can make dies and arrows. Armor smith, I pulled our guy out of here because our mine workers, our hunters, our archers, militia all have the upgraded tier 4 gear, so we don't need to keep anyone in here full time. If I lose somebody or gear starts breaking, then I'll re-employ the gentleman over here to fix our gear up. Got carpenter. These people probably want blooms. Yeah, need blooms. The guy's working on it. He's right here. He's working on it. But for warehousing goes, we've got 4 warehouse workers. We've got 2 on our food warehouse. All these, I broke off silos. This one just specifically for mushrooms, this one's specifically for eggs, and just so that there's always a constant supply and our gatherers aren't throwing eggs and mushrooms on the floor. All the cooked food is still full. Fish rack's full. 36 meat hunks hanging here. We're good. Seed storage, like I said, all of our raw food's filled up. Stuff's laying on the floor rotten, but farmers will pick that up, use it for compost. 2 cookhouses. Still have the barbecue going just to use up some of the raw red meat and raw fish, but some of our warehouse workers are still on tier 1, so they're still eating the tier 1 cooked food. Iron, stone storage, coal, crawler parts, broken metal parts, everything from the mine and the smith. Our refined wood products over this way. And I ended up having to make a bunch of linen and leather storage, because when we went to all the thick leather stuff at the cloth maker, they had to make 80 pieces of linen just for thick linen shirts and pants. So I wanted to pre-make some of the linen for them and leave it sitting over here so they could just come grab it, rather than sit at the loom to make 80 pieces of linen, not even make a piece of clothing that day. This has just been a failure on this run. Not sure what exactly was the issue. You can see it's the only one I've upgraded to the improved warehouse, just trying to get more workers in here to actually keep it stocked. But that stick storage, this was supposed to be hardwood logs, hardwood long sticks, and firewood, but it really just did not seem to matter how many workers I had in here. They were not looking outside of the walls to go pick up all the items laying on the floor, and then it was too far from the hardwood woodcutters. They just wouldn't run over here and grab the hardwood logs and long sticks and stock it for me. Just was not working, even with those hardwood logs and long sticks set on high priority. As far as builders go, I always had a shortage. I always tried to keep 3 or 4 on hand, but many times when I was preparing for invasions, I'd be down to 1 builder just keeping fires going. But overall, my overall thoughts, very successful. It was much more relaxed only having to deal with 48 villagers, keeping those people happy. So some of the things that didn't work, the dogs and the raw wood storage just didn't work this run. Things that worked well was the arrow maker, just having someone specifically at your original cloth maker just tasked to making arrows, and if you see he's keeping up with that, then maybe he can make some road makers or some less used tools. And then my other tip would be when you do make your metal worker, just put on your task 1 iron bar and 1 iron plate on there and just leave it and let them build up, because you're going to constantly need those over the course of your run, and it takes them forever to build them when you need them, it feels like. So I just set it and forget it on the 1 iron bar, 1 iron plate. Other than that, what I would do if I continued to play this run, I'd upgrade the walls to plank and the gates to village gates. I would continue to clear out the Draugr camps, trying to find the ancient weapons. The thing I really wanted to find was an ancient bow, but I've only found a couple of those. I haven't been able to research it all the way yet. What did I find this run? So, ancient one-handed sword, ancient shield, ancient arrows, and that's about it. I do have onesie-twosie items sitting in storage to research, but I'm just waiting until I get about 3 of them. Once I have 3 of the item, I can pretty much guarantee my level 100 Shaman's going to research it to full. So, main takeaway was, yep, absolutely doable to clear the main island with 48 villagers. I would have liked to had 60. I think 60 was a lot better number to be able to have set it and forget it workers at these workstations and have 4 to 5 builders constantly running around taking care of things. Then if I was going to continue this run, I'd build the harbor, I'd build a hardwood outpost, I'd build a mining outpost, so I wouldn't have to constantly reset the mine every season to have the steady income of iron ore. But then bump the village size up to probably 80 with 2 outposts and a harbor. Then you could start training new archers and new fighters at our barracks to protect the village while you're out and about. But those are my thoughts. I really did enjoy my time in this village. 132 days survived here and enjoyed it. It was fun. Alright guys, looking forward to starting a new adventure in Aska. We'll see you guys in the next one.